Conversations with Dr. Silva. This is now our second season, and this is the TV show where your voice matters. I like that African proverb that says, takes a whole village to raise a child. I also like what John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country could do for you, but what you could do for your country. And I say, ask what our community could do for each other, because that's what really matters. And so today we have a guest with us, John Raniola, and he's joining us today. And John, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, first I'd like to thank you for, this is my first time ever being on TV, and I appreciate the opportunity.
You're quite welcome.
So this is history in the making. So I don't know really what I'm going to say today, but I know it's going to be powerful. I will probably talk a little bit about my book, maybe a little on the law of attraction, law of growth, law of success, and things on that. I will even touch base on to things from my transformation from living a negative lifestyle to transforming into a more successful lifestyle and thoughts.
Okay, great. So, John, actually, let me ask you this. What motivated you to write your book and to talk about the things that you're going to be talking about today?
I will start where, at the bottom of my negativity life, where I believe that my mind went into survival mode.
Okay.
I was sitting 6 hours a day on the LA, sitting in traffic. I was overweight. I was drinking probably about 3/4 of a bottle of cognac a night. Every day I was going home. I was looking forward to going to the gym, work out, and I would just sit in traffic. By the time I got home, I'd go to the liquor store and just start drinking. It just happened over and over again. And then I just got to the point where I started to, this was the time when they came out with the little flip phones with the internet just started coming on
Right.
So I started watching YouTube videos of motivational and stuff. And then I started to go into motivational books and everything I could listen to. And that was the beginning of my transformation. How I decided to write the book, I just wrote down notes, very sloppy notes. It's just a lot of things just came into my mind, and I just had to write them down. And then I just started putting it into the book, which I also used when the information came to me, or I grew into information, that I also added that to my book. So with my book, I actually started from pretty much on the beginning of my journey on the negative, to when I'm transformation, to even when I'm drifting back to the old me.
Okay.
Because I want people to understand it's okay if you drift back from time to time, that this is a journey. This is not something that's going to be a magic or a secret pill.
Something that's going to happen overnight.
No, it's not.
And what is the title of your book again, if you want to show us?
My book is Self-Heal and Become Success.
That's wonderful. So, so tell me, what is the gist of your book? I love the title of it, Self-Heal. It's realizing that whatever we do, it's about us. You see so many, like you were talking about, so many motivational videos out there, self-help books, throughout the years, throughout the decades. And you feel that it starts with you, and ends with you. And so, I love the part about the self-healing. Me being a psychologist, my job, I feel, is to empower people. I don't want anybody to become dependent on me. I want them to, give them the tools and help them find the tools to, help themselves. So tell me a little bit more about the self-healing process.
It wasn't the beginning of my journey. My journey was I wanted to be rich. I wanted fancy cars. I wanted to go to the nightclubs, pick up club kind of women and all that. I wanted that lifestyle. Through my journey, I just found something better. I found myself. Okay. I found my real dreams. What I found was a lot of people are listening to these motivational speakers, and a lot of these people out there on the internet, they all talk about the money, the Lamborghinis, the cars. And I believe that they're blinding people from their real passions and their real purpose in life, which is actually, in the long run, destroying them. Because if I attracted what I wanted 6 years ago, I would not be the person I am today, and I'd probably be still drinking and everything else, because right now I'm over about 15, 16 months without any alcohol, anything else. But back then, if I had that money back then, I would have just been partying and just living the lifestyle, and I would ruin myself.
It's interesting you said that at one point in time, when you started this, that you had a certain way of like conceiving what success is, and I think most people in society equate, how much you have in the bank with what success is, and there's various different levels of success, and if you're able, like you said, to find yourself and find out what your true, real dreams are, I don't think there's anything more successful than that. And with saying that, what did you find when you found yourself? What did you find your dreams to be?
My dreams was not to get rich and all that. I really found more about caring about myself, loving myself, and becoming a better person in character. And coming with that way, I like to help guide other people. The reason why I wrote the book. I didn't write this book to be a writer. I am not a writer.
Okay.
It took me, shouldn't really admit this, but it took me 4 years to get out of 10th grade English.
Okay.
And the last thing I ever thought I would be writing a book. And the one thing that I did not, or the one thing that I found in the books that I have read, I lost a lot of information and I lost a lot of time by not understanding what I was reading from the words.
Right.
In my book, there's not one word that you need a dictionary for. I wrote it literally for people, not so book smart people, stuff like that, because there's so many people out there that need this information, and they're blocked from these big vocabularies, these big books. The publishers, they want all this information in there, but they want all big words and written certain ways, but not everyone learns the same way.
It's true.
And I believe I wrote it in a way where it's just loads of information. If you actually read it, it will actually be like I'm talking to you and I'm holding your hand. And that's my idea with the book, is I'm not here to teach you because you are your own teacher. I'm just here to show you, being a helping hand, that it's okay. This is what I had to go through.
Right.
This is it. Let's go. Let's take this in the next journey. These are the mistakes I did. I read these books wrong, or I read these teachings wrong, these quotes wrong.
Okay.
And as I developed, I learned through mistakes, very expensive mistakes, and I'm hoping that my book can actually speed up the time for people to actually become more successful in their definition of success, not someone else's or society's definition of success. Because if you really look back, we don't even know, if you really want to go deep, we don't even know who thoughts we are. Where did it come from? We're from past generations. So I don't even talk about self-healing just myself.
Right.
I had to go back and self-heal my past generations, the way they thought, their emotions, their fears, their anger, everything. I had to go back, recognize all that, and heal that, and then transform it into a more of a successful attitude, personality, which drove me to greater things, which opened my mind to new things and better things. And now when you open your mind to new and better things, other people will be willing to open their minds to you.
Right.
So as I always tell people, the secret to success is developing into success. Because as your mind develops, you learn, you see things different. There's opportunities everywhere, around you everywhere, but people do not know how to recognize it. And if you train yourself and you open your mind and you listen to other things instead of keeping your mind closed or think that what your parents said is right or beyond that, I will go blank. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Every now and then there's a lot of stuff rattling on my head. So.
Well, one thing that you did mention before, and I've had this guest here frequently, Haim, and he said something, you make mistakes, and really if you reframe it, it's like there's no such thing as mistakes, it's only lessons. They're only lessons. And I think that's what you're getting at, and the points that you're making are valid in that regards. I like one thing that you just said about healing, and not just seeing healing yourself, but going on to past generations. Because who are we? We're a product of, various different groups of people. The knowledge, I call it the collective knowledge, that humans have had and have been passed on. And I like the part that you said also about opportunities. Opportunities, they say opportunities always knocking. And to be able to recognize that there's an opportunity, opportunities will always be there. It's a matter of you making a choice to accept that opportunity or not. So those are, what I would like to hear more about, which I thought was very interesting, is the healing of past generations. And you mentioned some things like fear and anger and so on. So if you could, expand on that a little bit more.
All right. I'm going to touch on something that's
ahead.
going to probably be very powerful, because a lot of people don't realize this with the law of attraction.
Okay.
We all have heard that before.
Yes.
Okay, like attracts like and everything else like that. The thing that I have found as I'm teaching people and guiding people, even if they're chasing money, there's people bringing in childhood traumas into reality. Their fears, their procrastinations, they're drawing their childhood traumas into reality, not on the successful end, on the money and everything else. And I even watch it go from generation to generation. So it's really deep, and I believe I touch on this a little different, because a lot of people do not talk about this on the law of attraction.
Okay.
Because they're all like, just put your mind on money, or what you want. Now the thing is, even if you're doing that, you're still attracting your deep down emotions. And if they're not healed, or you don't even recognize them, they can pop up, the anger comes in, you self-sabotage. I did it myself, and I watched people self-sabotage businesses and ideas and their dreams, because deep down inside, as their child, or maybe even their past generation, put the fear into them. So when you go back and you self-heal everything and you see everything from within, it opens up the doors to a new level of success, to a new way of seeing success. Because all your life you were taught this. All your life, we're repeating generation after generation. Right. All our teachers are the same generation. Everything. So it's just, the idea is we have to break from that and see where these thoughts, where these emotions, everything comes from, and then have to go in there and transform that into more of a positive and everything else. Or you have to look into it as not just lessons, because I go beyond just lessons, they're blessings. I know I might get a lot of people angry with it. My mother passed away at 2.5, when I was 2.5. So just imagine the trauma. The only thing I remember of her, and it was the last day, the first time and the last time I ever seen her. I remember her, we were sitting in the car, and I can remember the house, I can remember everything. Remember, I'm 2.5. She turned around, lit a cigarette, and just looked at me. The next thing I realized, they were walking into a building. I could see the bricks. Now, 2.5, I probably don't know what bricks are, but I know the vision today.
Right.
So with something like that, I punished myself. Here I am, I'm trying to be successful, and I sacrificed, or I self-sabotaged myself in fear of caring for someone or getting close to someone, because I had my mother leave me. So that's what I brought into reality, even when I was chasing money, building businesses, and everything else. That was something I had to face. So I see it as my mother's death, as bad as it is, one of my best blessings. Because it brought me to who I am today. It taught me how to heal, and it taught me how to see other people's traumas and how they are being controlled, or their life is being controlled by their traumas, not by their thinking and everything else. It takes a lot to change your mind from a negative, especially a trauma. Right. I mean, I have a death of a mother. I'm sure there's other people who had a lot worse, and it's been passed on generation to generation.
Of course.
So it's not an easy thing to do. That's why I say you have to go in and self-heal yourself, create this, because you are the law in the law of attraction. You reflect what's inside. So if you're just concentrating on money and the inside is not successful, I don't care how much money you have. It's not going to make you happy. If you could find a way to be happy with yourself and then go out there and learn how to make money, learn how to develop a business, learn how to build your passions, your dreams, you will get a lesson that I believe no school can ever teach you. And that's why I'm so far, that's why I'm so deep with the self-healing. I try not to dwell on it too much because I know that you do stay at the level of your thoughts. So self-healing is great, but you have to also take it to the next level, is the success, the thinking, and all that. But this is a very important first step.
Right.
And I believe that people need to do it to heal the law of attraction in them.
Well, one thing that you said there that I agree wholeheartedly with is the fact that you got to be responsible for your own happiness. And I think a lot of times people may go about it the wrong way. I mean, I've told people, it's like, you can't get happiness from a noun. And they look at me, what do you mean a noun? Or a person, place, or thing. Some people say, like, if I was with the right person, I'll be happy. Or if I had, A, B, C, and D, these things, I'll be happy. If I was in a certain place, living in a certain whatever, I'd be happy. And I say, no, no, no. That comes from within yourself, and that's what that's what you're saying here. And for people to learn that and to be, and what you're just talking about, taking it to the next level of recognizing your thoughts curate reality. And it's important to know that. And if it's stuck in a place where it's still hurting, and you're not recognizing, as you said, the traumas that you have lived and continue to live, because if you don't address it or face it, that's what it's going to manifest itself in one way or another. That's not going to serve you. So yeah. So let me ask you this, John. What do you feel? And I like what you said in the beginning, that it's okay that you sometimes fall back and so on, and that's important for people to realize. That that's part of the process. What would you enumerate some of the challenges since you started walking on this path, because it is a journey? What would you say have been the biggest challenges at that time in the beginning, what they were in the middle, and what they are now?
It's hard because when you start this journey, you get to the point where all your surroundings, everyone around you is what is going to be the old you. And if you don't change your surroundings, you're going to continue in that surroundings.
Okay.
It's hard, so you actually have to leave what you know and go into that. And then you're dealing with habits that you had all your life. You're going into something that I can't even say, like, sometimes you don't even know if it's real or not. Because when you're transforming, you see the world in a totally different way. So it's scary for a lot of people. There's a lot of fear. And to overcome that, it's not easy. And I did a lot of manifesting, working with my mind and everything else. And I forgot to take action. I never took action on it. And when you dwell back, and you take action and you dwell back in fear, don't let it bother you. You're always getting a step ahead.
It's a great attitude to have. So besides fear, what are the other challenges that you, I guess, even putting this book together, what, I'm sure there's times that you probably said, what am I doing? What am I going to be sharing with others out there that they already don't know? I mean, tell me a little bit more about what that process is like. And I think it's good because it encourages and motivates other people to, if they have those initial fears, to be able to overcome them.
When I was writing my book, it wasn't the easiest thing for me. I felt I had to do it. Remember, I did not like English.
Right.
Did not like reading. I did not like writing. I did a lot of stuff from audiobooks. So just overcoming that, where I had to sit down and write, proofread, over and over. Like, someone normal could read this book, and I made it short and quick and simple to read, so someone can read it. A good reader, they read it within a day.
Right.
But it took me a month to edit it.
Right.
So it was definitely a major turning point. I had to really overcome a lot of fears, and just putting my life into that book. I just felt, but it was something I felt I had to do, because I feel like a lot of books are missing this. I know I put a lot of stuff that puts me out there on my information. I talk about my childhood. I talk about my family to a certain point. I can't talk everything because
Right.
But I put up that my teachers back in the past told me I wasn't smart enough to own my own business and things like that. I never liked school. School wasn't for me.
Right.
So I had to overcome a lot, because here's a society telling you have to go to school, you have to go to school. You're not smart enough to own a business, but my dreams was always to have a business. So I had to overcome that. Everyone telling me I can't do it. That was another thing too. My father was the guy, probably, and I asked this, I go, how many generations are we still living in a depression? Because my father had the attitude, success doesn't exist anymore. Everyone made their money already. You can't do this. And I understand it was the fear of him protecting me.
Right.
But that mindset can't be there. But it's very hard when you have that, you're growing up all your life.
Around you, yeah.
Get a security job, a secure job, get something like that. So it is real hard to overcome everything that you believe is real into transforming something that's totally different, seeing success in something different, not seeing it the way everyone else sees it.
Right. So one thing that you mentioned before, which is, which obviously I think it's probably a challenge as well, when you're saying that, like, everything that you know and your surroundings, the people, and someone that sometimes you have to leave that behind and move on. Tell me your experience. What was that like? I mean, that you felt that there were certain people that were part of your circle that you felt, okay, these quote unquote people were holding me back, or it's keeping me stagnant. As much as I may adore them and like them and respect them and so on, they're holding me back. Did you find that was something that you had to do?
Oh yes. I mean, little jokes, sarcasm. Once you start understanding and you go in this route and you're really developing, you start understanding your energy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel alive. Because when you start developing into this, you start developing your energy. And you know what you like and you know what you don't. That's why you very rarely will find me using a curse word, because I understand that energy. So I would not use it because I don't want that to draw out on a negative.
Right.
So yes, I had friends that would make little jokes, and it just got to the point where it just was draining me. Here's another thing too. Just go and saying, how are you? I tell it, just one of my lessons. I go, how are you? And people always say, oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And I tell them, I go, no, you got to say, I'm doing great. I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing awesome. Thank you. And what I found with the beginning was, I do this, I do it all the time, but in the beginning, I was scared to say I'm doing great. I felt bad I was going to hurt the person in front of me because his life wasn't so well or everything else, so I never did that. But then I realized how much my energy was growing by just going, oh, I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you. I'm doing awesome. So with that, I recognize that, and I will also touch base on this road. There's a lonely road to success. And I believe it has to be, because you have to find yourself, you have to find who you are. You have to find your purpose. And if you're listening to everyone around you, they're going to guide you away from it. Because they're the old you. You're going to a new you. And the same thing with the law of attraction. As you develop, you're going to attract to you the level of your development. And the people who don't belong is going to repel. They're going to remove themselves from you, because the energies do not mix. So on this route, you don't even have to worry about getting rid of people. They're going to get rid of you.
Right.
You know, they're going to walk away. They'll first try to, I've noticed it, they'll first try to attack you and try to grab you back. And then after that, they're going to go, you know what, I don't want to be around this person anymore. The energies don't mix.
You just said a point, you just mentioned something that you said they'll try to grab you back. Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's a fear that they don't want to be alone, or they don't want to be left back, or maybe they don't want to see you succeed.
And why don't you? You would think that your friends, they would want to see you succeed. Why do you think that perhaps they may not?
Because they're so built up with fear or stuff that's inside that's weighing them down, and they don't want to be a failure. Or, I don't like to use failure, but someone that gave up. Mm-hmm. And then watch someone else succeed.
Right.
You know, it's a real rough thing that you have to go through this. This is a life-changing. Success is not money. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's how you change your thinking. It's having a peace of mind. It's, you know, being calm, happy. Things go wrong. All right, you have to have that idea. All right, how do I fix this? How do I transform this? Because there isn't anything that's wrong. Everything's a lesson, everything's a blessing. And if you look at it that way, there isn't anything that could hold you down.
Right. You know, you're talking about finding yourself, and I've said this before as well, finding your inner voice. There's all this noise, you know, your parents' voices and your friends' voice, your peers, your teachers, your religious leader, whatever it may be, trying to mold you into they think you should be, and trying to find your inner voice and be able to like block everything out and just focus on that. And I think that's the journey you're talking about. And it's interesting. The reason why I was asking about why do you think sometimes people try to hold you back, and I'm sure you've heard this before. You know, they say misery loves company, and my ex-girlfriend's sister said, no, misery demands company. And I think you touched upon a lot of things that why perhaps it may, some people, they see you succeeding. It's like a mirror looking back at them. It's like, here's John. He's taking life by the horns and he's moving on, which makes I have to look at myself. And by looking at you, it's making me looking at me like, you know what? Why did I give up? Why am I not doing whatever? But if you surround people that are pretty much in the same level and they're not really, they're not the same kind of level, it's easy for you to contain with yourself. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of challenging them, and some people are not ready for that challenge yet. And I say yet, qualify that statement with yet because, it's just when a person decides, you know what, this is a choice I'm going to make, for myself. And I think that's, like you said, it's a blessing and a lesson. And it's about perspective, really. Like you were saying, you said that maybe this will make people angry when your mom passed away. You saw that as a blessing. You chose to reframe that to where it was going to serve you. You could have just been stuck there, oh, woe is me, oh, woe is me. This is horrible what happened. But you chose to get a lesson from that, which is, to have that perspective. I feel there's two things in life that you have, really, at least two things in life that you have control of. Your perspective and your attitude about it. Like the old adage, is the glass half full or half empty? For me, it's always half full, even more than half full. And I'm grateful that I have a glass to hold it. I'm grateful for what's in there to be about it. And that's what it comes down to. I think that's what life is really about. And I think you've learned that, but like you said before, you took the action. Because, you could be bombarded with all these different things. Because I'm amazed with how much stuff is out there with all these speakers, Tim Robbins and all these self-help books, all these audiobooks, everything else, and still I feel that people are so stagnant. If anything else, it's gotten worse. And I'm like thinking, okay, so what's going on? And I think the operative word is, taking the action and, being fine with that. Yeah, it's, so, John, let me ask you also this, as far as, taking this on, what are your aspirations? What's your next level? What do you want people to gather from your book? What do you hope for them to have for themselves?
I touched a lot. I started a business. I have an air conditioning heating business here on Long Island. So my journey was it took me months to quit my job. I was scared to quit my job, and I was walking into the office ready to quit, walk back out. It took me months. I had my truck set up already, and I was ready to go. And I was still scared to go in there and quit my job. Today, I will quit in a heartbeat. I'll walk away from something without even hesitating anymore if it's going to drain me or anything like that, or if it's going to guide me to someone I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be, or I'm not going to become, or who I am not. So if something's not guiding me, I'm going to walk away from it. No matter how much it hurts me or anything, I'm just going to look at the blessing of it and then take it from there. I know we're going to jump back a little. You were talking about the noise. A lot of people believe stress is success, and it's not. And a lot of people feed their minds with so much noise because they're afraid to listen to silence. Mm-hmm. So they want to listen. People wake up, they turn that news on, they turn that TV on. They can't sit there in silence.
That's true.
I actually had to learn through meditation techniques, thinking techniques, and many other techniques how to silence my mind, which I call listen to silence. And when you can actually listen to silence, you can. I don't hear voices, but you can hear things. Like things come to you.
Right.
Knowledge, wisdom. And you can see things clearer. But there's people out there, they're cluttering their minds with this thought, this thought, this thought. They can't even shut down. And most of the people are, like I was, thinking about an ex-girlfriend 6-7 years ago of something that happened or something that happened, and you're ruining your 2 days from that negative thought. So I've learned how to, and I have techniques in the book, but I've learned how through affirmations and other techniques to stop my thinking in track, so I can not have to think all the time. Now then you could transform that negative thinking into positive thinking. But I watch it all the time. People cannot shut down. And it's about thoughts that happened 10 years ago.
Right.
And once you can stop that, you'll be able to listen more, listen to yourself, find out who you are, and listen to, real wisdom.
Right.
Not from the media or the TV or anything. I don't even watch TV anymore. I actually very rarely watch a TV show or anything like that. I don't want to take from me, and that's why I stopped drinking. I do not want to take 1/1000th of a second from my mind, my thoughts. I want full control of everything. I like who I am and who I am becoming. And I like the ride. I do not want to take anything from that. I do not want to slow down.
It's interesting about the noise. I posted something on Facebook. This lady was talking about how, with the technology nowadays, people doing this, with social media and internet, just talking about how like a goldfish has a attention span of like 9 seconds. They said that we have an attention span of 8 seconds. That we start something, and then go on to something else. So we never complete anything, and we don't give ourselves a chance to, like I said, listening to silence. We don't give we feel uncomfortable with it. So we have to be doing something. So we think we're busy and whatever, to distract us from ourselves. Which, if you think about it, it's kind of a ludicrous thing. Why would you want to distract yourself from yourself? And finding that inner voice and being fine with the silence and just being still. I hope that you'll be able to talk about some of those techniques that people will be able to use to be able to do that, because I think that's one of the most important tools that people could do that nowadays, because they're so bombarded with so much stuff all the time. And she was saying that, like, when people get home, they can't even, like, calm down. They get caught up with other things and everything else, and it just never stops. And to be able to get into meditation and get into a point where you just slow down and just be comfortable with yourself and cut everything else off for that period of time. I think that's so instrumental. And I think my ex-girlfriend said, most people are on survival. They're a co-pilot. They're in co-pilot mode. And then I always feel like, a lot of people are in survival mode as well. Like you saying, that's amazing that you're able to say, it's like, you know what? I could just leave a job and just quit something. And most people are in such fear mode. It's like, oh my goodness, if I leave this, I don't, like your father saying, I don't have the security, and security is an illusion. And most people are just they're sacrificing whatever they have to sacrifice, which mostly it's their happiness, to fight that fear the entire time, and not trusting themselves to be able to just say, you know what, I'm okay. I'm going to find out who I am and take the leap of faith that you took in finding that path and finding that journey. I think that's probably one of the greatest gifts anybody could give themselves.
I do have to admit, I would recommend it to everyone. It's the best journey. I mean, it is scary, because especially you have bills, you have everything else, but it's the journey it's going to teach you faster than anything else. Like, I read these books over and over and over and over again, any book I could find.
Right.
And I used it as an excuse that I wasn't ready to take action in my business. And even when I had my business going, I still feared taking jobs on. There was so much stuff I had to overcome. But it's not something that's going to happen overnight. And with the listening to silence, it teaches you how to focus. And when you focus on yourself, or as I say, character attracts character. So you work on yourself and you build a better character, a better person. And that's going to attract back to you. So you focus on that. If you don't have a purpose on a business or anything else, you focus on that. That's your purpose for now, until you shut your mind down and you find something. You just work at everything you do, and you always do the best you can. Even if you don't like the job, the people are yelling at you, you go in there, you take that pride, you do that work. And you just sit there and you do that pride. Because if you take away that pride, you're going to lose yourself. And if you go in there and you do your pride every day, even if you don't like your surroundings, you're going to develop. And you're going to see that pride, and that's going to give you something to drive for. I'm just trying to
talk about the, maybe you could just briefly just say here, what are some of the meditative techniques that you utilize to listen to silence?
Well, I do a reset meditation, which actually in my book, I actually had an affirmation, I am success, I am a millionaire. My first affirmation was, I am going to be a millionaire, going to be this, going to be that. And I realized later on, going to is procrastination. So you're telling your mind that you're going to, it's procrastinating, it's telling you another day. So what I do, it's not easy. I mean, now it's a lot easier because I don't have a lot of negative thoughts. It's very rare it comes in now. But just say you have a thought, and you're like, oh, whatever, I did this, or, oh, my ex-girlfriend hurt me 20 years ago. And you know what? I see people destroy their whole lives from that. But my ex-girlfriend, oh, man, what did I do? Oh, man. And then you just go, stop. I am success, I am this, I am that. And then you might go back, oh, but my girl, I am success, I am that. You just repeat it. I call it annoy the heck out of the negative. You just keep on repeating until it goes away.
Say that again, annoyed what?
Annoy the heck out of the negative.
Annoy the heck out of the negative,
Yeah.
okay.
So you just keep on repeating it. I actually have, I've shortened it down to, after a while, because now I started having control, to just saying I am success. And every time the negatives, I am success. I mean, I have other ones that are deeper now. I just don't know how far I want to get into my conversations. But you know what? I'm going to. I don't hide anything anyway. My new affirmation is I am the light and I only accept the light. So therefore I don't accept anything else but the light. So whenever I feel something negative or something that's drawing me down, I just repeat that affirmation until my mind shifts. Because if you could shift just your energy and your thoughts, you could totally shift yourself out of the negative into a positive. Even when you catch yourself being drawn back or you're drifting back to the negative, what happens now, you go, oh wow, I just had 3 days of everything falling apart. Why did I do that? I'm in control of this. And literally right there, you just go, you know what, I'm in control. I know how to get out of this. You could literally shift your energy that fast.
Right.
And when you know how to control stuff like that, you could really change a lot. I mean, there's some things you can't control. You just have to deal with it as long as you have to, and then get yourself out of it.
Right. Well, please share again your name, the name of your book, and a way people could contact you as far as, website or anything else, and you could just, share that with us now, because I want to make sure people have access to you.
I just want to also touch, I'm also a Reiki master.
Oh,
I was certified at that. I went to the journey on the healing side, so I know on that with the energy, and I work a lot of different energy and thought patterns and stuff like that. And my journey has been bringing me to a lot of places. But my book is Self-Healing Become Success. You can find it on Amazon. It's on a Kindle version and a paperback. You could also find it on returningtosuccess.com, which is returning the ~2 success.com. I have some free writings that I put up, and I will be putting more and more up as time goes on. You can get my book there. You could also contact me you could contact me off of that website, or you could also contact me at returningtosuccess@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And one last thing, what would you hope for people? What would be one last thought that you would want to share with our viewers here?
I want people to know that it's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Don't get blinded by the people on the internet. And then you're caught in your thoughts with this. How do I do this? What tool is this? There's only one way to success. Everything else is tools. So stop looking at everything as this is the only way, this is the only way. They're all tools. They're all leading you to the same path. It's just whatever tools you decide to use. I mix it up. I use Reiki healing, I use meditation, I do visual meditation. I do thought patterns, affirmations. I tried so many things. I'm also, studying under the Napoleon Hill Foundation now.
Okay.
So I have that coming up. I'm working on becoming a certified instructor. So that's something else that I'm bringing this to a whole nother level. Plus, I know that if you read my book, you can at least not feel alone on your journey. There's a lot of stuff there. I did not write it. There is information. There's a paragraph that's going to give you information, and I go right back onto to something else. And something else. I'm not going to give you a whole boring story. I packed it with tons and tons of information. You just have to get past the beginning, which is from my negative end to the middle, where I drifting back and forth, to the end of the book,
Right.
which is, I believe, my awakening and me seeing my true definition of success. And as long as you're always traveling to a better you will always be traveling towards your purpose.
That's beautiful. Well, John, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. and sharing your, your dreams here, sharing your information. And I want to wish you continued success on your life path. And thank you again. And to my viewers here, thank you for joining another episode of Conversations with Dr. De Silva. And until next time.